Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and today I want to show you how I made this really pretty corner pocket fold card that I featured on my blog post today. This is going to be my thank you card for anybody who puts an order in between April, or sorry, May, I'm in the wrong month, May, what are we, 10th-ish, through till June 10th. They're thereabouts. So anybody who places an order gets a thank you card from me in the mail, and this is it for the month. So I use this. I got this idea from Mo Dickey, who shared it on a Canada Inks Up team meeting, and I just love it. So I have used this to create this really pretty card. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do that, and I'll give you some other ideas as we're going along. So let me just switch over to my desktop, and I will show you the card. All right, so this is the card that I made, and you can see that it's got kind of a little note card on the front of it that tucks into this corner piece. Now, this card will not stand up. It is a 5.25 inch, 5.5 by 4.25 inch piece. So for my card today, I'm actually creating one that will stand up for you, but you're doing it really exactly the same way as this one. I just use only a card base on this one instead of a half sheet of designer series paper. So let me show you the products that I used. So I've used the color and contour bundle. I'm in love with this. It's such a great bundle. So I've used the stamps, and they're two-step stamps. So I've used this daisy, I guess it's kind of like a daisy flower, and then the thank you for everything stamp for the sentiment. And then the dies come with these great scallop dies. I've used one for the sentiment, and then I've used the scallop border die to cut the bottom of this. All right, so let me show you my card. Got my pieces here. So what I did for this, the pieces that I'm going to, and the card I'm going to make today is I'm going to use a half sheet. So this is a piece of cardstock cut 4.25 by 11. All of the measurements and written instructions for my card will be on my blog, and I will put the link to that underneath this video. So you'll be able to go out and get this if you miss the measurements. So the measurements for this piece are 4.25 by 11, and you're just going to fold that in half to form a card base. And this will allow your card to stand up. So this would be a tent fold as opposed to mine that doesn't stand up, my original. Now I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and I didn't bring this over. This is the ornate garden or ornate flower embossing folder. So I've gone ahead, this is a 4-inch by 5.25 inch piece, and I've gone ahead and already embossed that. And so this will go on the front of the card. All right, so my next piece is cut. This is 3.5 inches by 8 inches. And again, you're going to fold this in half or score it in half and then fold it in half. This is your smaller kind of note card that goes on the front. So this will go on to your card base like this. Okay, so now that done, that done. Okay, so you need 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. They're both exactly the same. These are cut 3.25 by 3.25. So for the front, what I did is I used Tuxedo Black Memento, and I'm just stamping the flowers somewhat randomly on and off of my piece of cardstock. Okay, and while we're at it, I'll stamp one on the other piece, which is going to be the inside of my note, and I'm just going to stamp that right there. Then you want to I'm using fresh freesia. So this combination of Blackberry Bliss and fresh freesia is just so pretty. All right, now I have to figure out the lining up. So this lines up. So this image will not stamp perfectly. So just so you're aware, even though I'm kind of being a little fussy to actually get this lined up right. So, but what I found is this petal with the kind of rounded kind of bulb on the end, it seems to line up perfectly if you add that rounded one goes on this one. So you've got this kind of one that's got kind of heart shaped, and then two over from it is this one, and it seems to line up perfectly if you line up the rounded edge, the rounded petal with that. But as I said, it is not perfect, and it doesn't matter. It's intended not to be perfect. So don't stress out over not getting these lined up and the ink going over the edges, because that's how it is supposed to be. There we go. And one more. There we go. All right. And then while I'm at it and I'm stamping, I've got just a little piece of basic white cardstock that I'm going to stamp the sentiment on, and I'm going to cut this out using one of the scallop dies. So just stamp this in the middle. Get my stamping done and out of the way. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so on my card, I actually decided it needed something in the middle of the flowers, and there isn't a stamp that you can do that. You could color it with blends if you wanted to, but I decided to get my gilded leafing out and add some gold to this. And the way I did this, I did not use the heat and stick powder. I just grabbed my multi-purpose adhesive glue, and I just kind of went in and added some glue to the centers of my cards. And now if I bring my gilded leafing in, I'm gonna put this out of the way. It's the best way to use this. It is messy, but if you put this in, it comes in a jar, and when you open it, you can't use it in that jar. So I got myself a plastic container, and I put my gilded leafing in this, and you can see that this is very fly away. So what you want to do with this is, I find that it just works. I can just take my, whatever the image, whether I've used the heat and stick embossing, or sorry, heat and stick powder to apply, or whether I just use multi-purpose adhesive glue, or whether I use the adhesive sheets, I can just, this container is big enough that I can put it in my cardstock into it and just get some of the gilded leafing off. And then I've got a sponge that I've just cut, and I just keep it in here, and then I take and rub the extra off. And you can see that now I got a little bit there, and that's okay. I wasn't intending this to be perfect. So now I've got my gilded leafing, and it sticks very nicely just with the multi-purpose adhesive glue. So it's a great way to add centers to your flowers. And gently put my lid back on, and you can see my gilded leafing kind of fluffing all over the place. But anyway, I love it. It is fun to play with, and I love the look of this. Okay, so what I want to do now is, this will go on the front, but the first thing I want to do is, I'm going to just bring my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in here. And actually, I can't use my mini. I just realized I thought I was going to be able to. Let's bring the big one in. because I'm going to cut my note card. Too many plates here. Okay, and I'm going to use the scallop border, and I'm just going to go through both layers, or I try to go through both layers. It's probably going to take a couple of run-throughs to do that, so that I'm going to cut my bottom of my note card and have the scallop on the bottom. Just going to run it through, and then I'll check to see if it cut through, because I am going through multiple layers, but by doing it this way I get the layers matching. So it cut through, well, it cut through both, great. Okay, so running it through twice cut through both. I probably could have made that a little bit more level and even, and had it a little bit more lined up, but that's okay. All right, so now that I've got my borders, I'm just going to take and adhere this down using Stampin' Seal. Like that. Get it lined up. Okay. And I guess I should have done this, okay, at the same time, but I can use my mini for this. I'm going to grab, let's see, not that one, it's this one. So it's the second smallest die. And what I'm going to do is, because I want this, it's a little too big. If I have this, it just kind of covers over all my flowers. So what I did on this card is I just cut my sentiment out so that it is on the edge, so that I actually am going to trim this to the size that I want it on the one edge, so that one of my edges will not be, let's get this going, there we go, one of my edges will be cut straight and will not have a scallop edge to it. There we go. Wait. So you can see here, I didn't get it all cut, but that's okay. This is going to go on here like this, and I'm just going to trim it. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. Let's go the other way. And I'm going to just cut this to be 1 3/4. So I've got a little bit smaller than my original card, but that's okay. So this is just going to adhere on this, and I don't know whether I did pop it up. I tend to always pop things up. So we're just going to use some dimensionals. All right, and then this can just pop up on there, like that. And then the inside, stuck together from where I cut it. Okay, so that will go on the inside of my card. That. Isn't this pretty? The fresh freesia, oh my gosh, and the blackberry bliss is just so pretty. Now, the last thing to do for this note card is to take some of the fresh freesia. This is the fresh freesia open weave ribbon. So we're just going to wrap it around the top. And okay, paper snips. And I'm just going to tie, hopefully, tie a bow at the top of my card. I'm going to just do it over to the left-hand side here. And see if I can fluff it up a little bit. There we go. Trim it. A little bit. There we go. Okay. And if you want to hold that in place, you can add a glue dot underneath there, but it seems to be in place. Now, we're going to position this on the card, but the first thing we want to do is I've got a 2" by 2" piece of Blackberry Bliss, and this is going to be the corner piece. So what you want to do is you want to cut this 2 by 2" piece, and you're going to take your trimmer the right way, and you're going to cut from corner to corner on the diagonal. So the way I do that is just put the 2 points in the track and then run my down, and I've now cut it into 2 triangles. And we just need 1 for this card. And this will go in the corner. Now you can put it right to the corner, or you could line it up with on the basic white, which is what I'm going to do. I'm not sure there's a right way and a wrong way, but so, and I'm using these foam adhesive sheets, or sorry, foam adhesive strips for this, and I just cut a piece off that is about 3.5 inches, and when I take one of those strips and cut it, it's almost the right size. So you can just take a piece of the strip and cut it and then apply it to the edges. And what this will do is allow your card, the note card, to tuck underneath. If you just adhere this on, you may find it just a little bit difficult to get your card piece tucked underneath, but this tucks perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to just put this down here, and I'm going to use just Stampin' Seal. I've got my gilded leafing all over the place, and I'm just going to tuck this underneath so that it is kind of lined up, centered on the card, edge to edge. Not too bad. Like that. And press that down. So now I've got my card front. This opens up. You can write your sentiment in here. But the nice part of this card is it actually will stand up, as opposed to this card that I made first that doesn't stand up. Didn't think of that until I started to get ready for this video. Thought that would be so much better. So then you can actually put a piece of basic white inside here and write an even bigger note if you want to. So that's my card. Let me just switch back over. I hope you enjoyed that. I just love this technique. I'm so thankful to Mo Dickey for introducing me to it, because it's so much fun, and you can do this on all sorts of fancy fold cards. You can do it landscape orientation or like this, and it just creates a really fun fancy fold. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, please just leave a note, comment on my blog or on my video, and I'm happy to answer your questions. If you're interested in receiving one of these pretty cards as a thank you, all you have to do is put an order in through my online store. Of course, Canadians only. I can't sell to anyone who doesn't live in Canada. But if you live in Canada and interested in this, all of the supplies for this will be listed on my blog, and you can go to my online store. Thanks everybody for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're here so that you get notified when I do upcoming videos. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Happy stamping.